everybody, and welcome to the Building What's Next podcast. I'm your host, Peter Weingard. And this is the podcast where we sit down with senior leaders from the world's most forward-thinking companies for honest, unscripted conversations about AI, transformation, and what they're building next in this moment. So very excited to have some really great guests from one of our favorite partners, from Google Gemini, Joni and Trevor. Why don't you introduce yourselves?
Yeah, and I could start. Joni Ricard. I've been at Google Cloud for about 6 years now. I lead our North America partner ecosystem for AI and data.
And I am on Joni's team. My name is Trevor Harvey. I've been with Google Cloud for about 7 months now, so quite a few years less than Joni, but very excited to be here and excited about the Altimetrik partnership.
Right, but that's digital time. So that's like 2 years.
It's like dog years, exactly. I feel like I've been with GCP
Trevor's
for a
pretty much
long
veteran
time.
right now.
And speaking of digital and advanced, I'm partnered here with my co-host today, Niraj, our Chief Data and AI Officer.
I'm super excited to have you with us, and really looking forward to our partnership. As an ex-Googler, I can see it's never been a dull moment in terms of where the company thinks, how they're progressing, the investments they make, whether it's Waymo, industrial, financials, retails, industry-specific, building those next frontier models, focused on the full stack investments. So I'm super excited to be partnering with you in our journey together.
And Niraj was actually telling me at breakfast when he was at Google working on the Vertex AI team and TensorFlow and building out all the models that we're seeing in our Chrome browsers today with Ask AI and everything like that. So I'm so glad that you're on the panel as well.
I'm super excited to have you guys.
Well, things have moved quite
A
a
lot,
bit
a
since
long
then,
way.
right? We've
Yes.
gone a long way.
Yeah.
What a journey.
Well, that's a great way to jump into the first question, because I'm really curious. You're both sitting on the front lines of enterprise development. What has surprised you most about how quickly or how not quickly AI is being adopted at companies?
So that's a great question. And I wanted to preface and start by saying that about 8 years ago, in 2018, I actually led the business development and partnerships team for an AI startup. And compared to how it was back then, when we look at specific model readiness, specific customer readiness, I would say we've gone a long way since then. But could things be improved? Absolutely. I think two of the key areas where we've seen some slowdown is, first, what I would call POC purgatory, where customers get very excited, they jump right in for a low cost, low risk proof of concept. But when we start talking about production, how does this really work with our processes, with our workflows, some of their legacy systems? That's where they hit the pause button. Another area where we've seen some delays as well is when customers jump right into AI deployment without thinking through the data foundation layer. So one of the key things I always tell customers is data, when paired with AI, becomes a company's most unique differentiator and can truly allow them to unlock the value and ROI behind the applications.
Yeah, I mean, I would plus one to everything Joni said, as far as having a strong data foundation and moving from pilot to production, and that being a challenge when you have data silos and, legacy infrastructure across the organization that needs to be modernized. The other thing that I would say, Joni, is because of that, difficulty transitioning from pilot to production, we're seeing this new class of expertise that are being leveraged by our partners, and these are forward developed engineers, FDEs. So Altimetrik, as an example, has thousands of these high caliber, tech savvy folks that can actually go into our customers, work with our customers, and actually help with the deployment. That's something that's come about in the last couple of years because enterprises are seeing this challenge.
I mean, I think this is actually an interesting moment to pass it to you, because we were all just talking about this in there, right? These are the challenges. So talk a little bit about, if you can, both like forward deploy engineers and other changes in the way companies like us and Google are approaching AI to make it work in an enterprise.
Right. So, when we talk to our clients, right, and also I was on the buyer side for 6 years of my tech career before coming here, we looked for few signals, right? from the tech platform perspective, also from working like, sellers like Altimetrik. One is, pilot to production, what is your expertise in driving that behavior in transformation, right?
Exactly.
Like how many have you done? Which industries have you implemented in? And help us hone in some of the critical complex problems you've solved. For example, building agents is not a problem at all. Like, it's about running an orchestration, highly orchestrated workflow of multiple agents across the entire chain of workflow implemented in production with the right level of identity and access management, the data privacy, and auditability, right? And then if you're talking about compliance, the GDPR, the Basels of the world, having that level of understanding of implementation details, super critical, even before production, right?
I think an important point that you mentioned as well there is you're not looking at this as just a proof of concept. You're actually looking straight into prototyping and having a clear path to production. I think that's missing right now, and that's why we're very excited to actually work with partners like Altimetrik to push these forward.
So that's a great foray into the next question as well. So you work with us. You really are. This is like so you work with us as a partner. Explain to me what's important about a partner ecosystem. Like, how do we help Google? What do we do together?
I have a lot of thoughts here.
Yeah, you mind if I take this one? I mean, I would start with how Google is spearheading kind of this ecosystem development and enabling our partners to take advantage of this time and to really build out and deploy on our behalf. This past Next, we launched the GET program, which was a $750 million commitment to help our partner ecosystem with just what we're talking about here, helping our customers with their agentic transformation and deploying Gemini Enterprise. So that involves up-leveling, employees at our partner organizations, access to specific funding mechanisms, helping our customers get their agents on our marketplace. There's a variety of different mechanics that are part of this GET program, but ultimately we're trying to help our partner ecosystem really work with our accounts on an industry and an account-specific basis and kind of extend Google's capability in helping out with these deployments.
Yeah, and I wanted to respond to this in a slightly different way as well, because Google Cloud, we have a fast-growing partnership ecosystem. And the goal for our partners, especially service partners or AI partners like yourselves, is to really help us address specific gaps, specific needs in the market, and then jointly drive outcomes for our customers. So because of that, because of this huge opportunity that we have in front of us, Google comes with a full AI stack. We have the technology, we have the innovation, but we need our partners to become our distribution engine, help us to scale and deploy across our different customers. I also feel like partners become our bridge between us and our legacy systems, because oftentimes that's the biggest blocker right now that we're seeing around production, where customers hit some friction points as soon as they think through the disparate data, the disparate systems that they have to unlock in order to optimize the AI stack. So I think two of those points are key areas that we could really use a partner's help in.
Another area of optimization or change that's fascinating is just the rate of change with the model development and all the sort of, I guess, application layers that sit around it. What do you see as the biggest opportunity with partners to build like lasting IP rather than solutions that get rendered obsolete before they've been implemented?
Absolutely, and that one is a great question, because we're sitting at a point right now where we're just at the beginning of unlocking the opportunities, so there's a lot of white space. But I would say three key areas, and they're broad-based areas, where partners could really look to invest in. The first one is the technology layer. How do we move away from just looking at wrapper APIs, prompt engineering templates, to really looking at true orchestration frameworks that allows our customers to almost abstract the model complexity and make model swapping a little bit simpler. The second, as you had mentioned as well, is workflow integration. Right now, some customers are still looking at standalone chatbots, standalone agents. How do we start looking at a more unified AI, agentic framework that allows us to really take advantage of some of these like deep workflows and deep integrations with systems like CRMs and ERPs.
I think that's a great opportunity for you to talk a little bit about agentic frameworks and.
Yeah, so when we think about the agentic frameworks, right? We fundamentally, I think Joni touched on this. When we get into any kind of an engagement, right? Our first call discussions with our C-suite have become so technical nowadays because they've been educated by so many hyperscalers and frontier model owners. Like, hey, what about this? How you're solving this problem? So it's great to have that level of conversation where you're actually sitting with the CDO or CTO in the first call, and you're getting super deep into, hey, I know how to build agents, and I'm already running 10 models, but I'm having super hard, challenge to actually figure out not only just orchestration, but token economics,
Exactly.
right? I have multiple models. Mistral is one of them. Open source is there. I got the frontier models. But for this particular use case, it could be KYC, could be some life sciences. For this particular prompt, as the entities are being extracted, what's the right combination of the model that actually extracts these entities, creates the embeddings in the Vortex AI, Vortex database, and then how do I route it to a rules-based engine versus a RAG versus an LLM? What's the right pattern? When do I go where? Like those are the types of discussions and architectural patterns that we are capturing, right? On top of these platforms. Platforms don't come delivered with these platforms. Like you have 200 models workbench. Love it. But these architectural patterns, the repeatable patterns only happen when you are on the floor having those discussions on the site and implementing those in production.
Yes.
Right? So those are super critical learnings that we bring in-house. We want to share it back with you. I was talking to Will, like, hey, how do we become a part of your extended lab? How does our labs, like we have big investments in our labs that we do, Alti Labs, where we constantly run these experiments, trying multiple models for this particular use case. What's the right token optimized way to implement this, right? Multiple agents orchestrated. Like how do we become your extended lab so that we get your early bits, we can give you some quick feedback.
Yeah, and I mean, Altimetrik is at the tip of the spear as far as partners that are also offering, unique IP. You talked a little bit about Alti AI operating system, but you also do a lot of work in domain-specific accelerators that are aligned to BFSI or HCLS, et cetera. Like these are what we're asking of our partners to develop and build on top of the Gemini tech stack. So anything that we can do to lean in further in this area is something we should definitely explore.
Yeah, there are three big practices where we're seeing a lot of customers actually engage with us. One is the data layer, the context,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Without having the context, there's no conversational AI, right? Because until you go understand the siloed systems and you go build some kind of unification of ontology, right? And then you build the semantic on it. And then you think about context engineering, right? You now have solved a huge problem, a data problem. Then conversational AI just becomes a simple prompt, right? It's a natural language, gets converted to a queries, runs it, all the complications abstracted.
I think you brought up a great
Right.
point as well. I think Altimetrik, that's the secret sauce because you're truly able to abstract a lot of the technical complexities, bringing some of the best practice that you've learned across industries, and really allowing our customers to just, hey, this is the use case you have. We're going to deliver the outcomes faster because we've done it before.
Yeah. And then the two other layers, in addition to context, is the orchestration that we talked and the governance. Across these three layers, we see so much opportunity across the board, because these are real problems that a lot of the folks feel in production.
So, we call the show Building What's Next because we want to talk about what's being built right now, what's next. And so I'll open this up to everybody.
So there's only a few things that we're able to really talk about publicly, but I think across the board, we are seeing advances within our models and the efficiencies behind it, But there's also a lot of advances around conversational AI that you've mentioned. We're working through our shopping agent that you've seen with Macy's. We've delivered a lot of shopper conversions using that tool. So we're slowly, not slowly actually, we're quickly advancing across all of our products and solutions right now.
Yeah, the one thing I would call out is Gemini Spark, which is going to be in the Gemini Enterprise platform very shortly here. It is in the standalone Gemini app. And it's a natural language kind of processing agent where you can prompt it like you would the Gemini app, and then it builds the agentic workflow for you on your behalf. And as far as like personal productivity, as far as communication and the way that you talk to your colleagues, it is a true game changer. So once you get your hands on it, Gemini Spark, make sure to look out for it and use it.
You did mention that actually.
Yeah, it was announced at Google I/O a couple months ago, so I'm not telling anyone that something that they're not supposed to know.
Super excited that you guys are doing.
But yeah, I would love to hear more. You showed me the blog around
Yeah.
HCLS. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so one of the areas that we are seeing where we are spending a lot of time experimenting is, what we just talked is the current capability. This is what the customers need today. How do we think about the 6 months from now? What kind of capability should we get ready for from the engineering perspective, right?
Yeah.
Context engineering is today. RAG is today,
Absolutely.
right? How do I think about the graph RAG, the light graph, right?
Yeah.
That's the next level of frontier we want to get ready for at scale. So when the platform is there, we are first with you to go implement and deploy such experiences, whether it's at, it doesn't matter what level it comes in at, right? That second level of investments that we are making is at the inference level. We feel like at some point in time, all these large language models will have run a wall where you will have to think about the SLMs, the last mile, the last frontier, which is highly token optimized, right? Repeatable. I'm okay to run it on-prem, right? So all the GDPR, the compliance data can be easily shared. It's not leaving the four walls,
Yes.
right? And that combination of large language models with SLMs, how do you actually create an optimized router for that? That is a huge experiment that we are running and we are seeing for banking.
Yes.
What does an SLM look like, right?
Yep.
What are the right accelerators that would help us implement some of the use cases on top of the platform that implements ontology, semantic graph out of the box,
Sure.
right?
And that's amazing because that's exactly how you move faster to production.
Yeah.
Because a lot of our customers are starting to also hit pause because of the cost
Yeah.
it takes right now to run these real production workloads. So I think you're absolutely right, looking at the token level to understand how we truly optimize it to make it a realistic future for the customer. So great points.
Maybe moving to a little bit of a fun question. Curious, what buzzword do you think you're all tired of hearing because people don't understand what it means in AI, in what we do? What is the businesses talking about? And they heard it, and now they come to you and they say, we need this thing.
Go ahead, please.
For me, it's the word autonomous. There's been a lot of talk about autonomous agents kind of running in the background, and there's no true autonomy with these agentic systems. You need to build in the governance. You need to build in the human in the loop. You need to make sure that there's guardrails in place and that it's set up in a way that uses the right data and has access to the right data for the specific use case. So I always hear the word autonomous agents, and I kind of hear that buzzword and I roll my eyes a little bit because if done right, there is no autonomy, true autonomy.
Human at the helm, really, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
So I'm going to actually keep to the theme, and it's going to be in the business perspective. I think proofs of concepts is an overused term and an overused concept right now. I think there's an opportunity for us to actually either skip or reduce that proof of concept phase. Maybe it's a proof of value or something where we actually rapidly prototype instead of actually going through a long cycle that's not necessarily going to push things into production.
Where I get tripped over is when somebody tells me we are AI native and we are running agents in production. and they are literally just bots, chatbots.
Yes.
Right, who are like siloed chatbots built on siloed systems that actually are being duplicated, replicated 10 times for the same flow by different financial advisors trying to, onboard or upload a deals document or trying to launch a new prospectus.
Yeah.
Right, so we really have to take them to the whiteboard and say, okay, let's start from fundamentals, right?
Yes.
How is your data set up? Just walk us through your data systems.
Yeah.
Walk us through your quality of your data. Walk us through how these silo systems are you running, right? Because you fundamentally cannot build an agentic anything on top of siloed systems. You're building broken agents,
Agreed.
right?
100%.
Well, this has been a great conversation. Niraj, Joni, Trevor, thanks so much for coming. This
you
has been
for
a lot of
having
fun. We're looking forward to your presentation later. And of course, we just love working with you so much.
We feel the same. We're excited for this partnership.
We are so excited. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for coming and joining us, and looking forward to your presentation.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Amazing.